Now imagine we meet up, thanks to a mutual friend. Let's call him Ted. For the next 10 minutes or so, I'm going to transport us to a wonderful, beautiful little independent coffee shop in North London on an afternoon that I spent there not so long ago. Now, Ted hasn't told me a lot about you, so now I'm sitting here wondering, is this a friend thing? Is this a business thing? Or is this a date? But your smile puts me at ease. We grab a table, we order some coffee, and we small talk about the news. This turns out to be a mistake because the news is horrific, and you agree. So we do that wonderful thing that's possible in conversation and sidestep the frightening reality of now with a related topic, and you tell me about an irrational fear you had as a child. And you're great at anecdotes. It has everything: humour, insight. And now it's my turn. When I was 8 years old, I was a member of a scout group in Wolverhampton. And I was going on my very first camping trip. Now, I come from a family of readers, so it's not unusual for me to come back from the library with a pile of books in preparation for any trip. Unaware of the venomous animals that exist in the county of Shropshire, one of the books I had was on snakes, on corn and coral snakes. And I learned to rhyme that day to help me tell the difference. And I still know that rhyme today. Red before black is safe for Jack. Red touching yellow will kill a fellow. So, venom is my answer. All snakes bite, but it's the venom that kills. As coral snakes are indigenous to North America, you laugh politely. You're so kind. This person's so nice. You then say, talking about fear, you hesitate. Thinking about the things we see on the news, you then ask your question, were you ever afraid of racist people? Yes is the short answer, but I want to keep this light so we can have fun on our meeting, date, whatever this is. So I decide to tell a story which I think will make me look good. In my 20s, I'm in London, I'm on a night out and I've just met this beautiful being. Maybe this isn't the best story to tell after all, but I've started, so I'll have to finish. She says, there's a 24-hour pub just round the corner from mine. Let's go. And we did. We're in London, one of the most diverse cities in the world. We walk into this pub and it is full of solely white people. I think strange. She's talking to her friends. And I overhear, what are you doing? Have you lost your mind? As my date runs to the toilet, she asks me to go and get a drink. So I make my way to the bar and I order a pint of Guinness and a glass of wine. The person behind the bar serves the glass of wine, but no Guinness. I inquire and she responds, we don't really serve people like you in here. 10 years ago, I was witty, I was arrogant, I even had beautiful long hair. So I looked around. I looked down the bar, I looked at her. I looked down the bar, I looked at her squarely and said, what beautiful people, I see what you mean. I'll have a pint of Guinness, please. She poured my drink. We finished and we left. You seem to like that story. And I do too. I remember thinking at the time it was an absolute win. But it wasn't really, because nothing changed. You're thoughtful, and you ask, what about when you were younger and you didn't have a voice to speak out for yourself? So there was a time shortly after that camping trip, we were walking down the road, me and my father, and there were 3 figures in the distance. A mother, her friend, and a small child. As we came closer, I remember saying something really polite. Good afternoon, everyone. Could you excuse us, please? Just want to get past. I hope you're having a wonderful day, or something of the like. Even my father chipped in. The mother looked at us scornfully, but worse, she looked at the child with pure venom. What dripped from her mouth, word for word, was, don't ever move out the way for these people. They've taken enough already. I look up and you now look horrified. And I've done this. I don't want you to feel bad. So I complete the story. The friend of the mother steps in and says, excuse me, what do you mean? You have a wonderful day, she says to both of us, and continues to hold the difficult conversation as we walk away. My father says to me, Autajche wanapre eklanati, which loosely translates to, these things happen, but at least we're not alone. You seem to like the ending of that story. So I go for one more. I can tell stories like this all day. So now I'm thinking of the times I was most afraid between the ages of 11 and 16, where adults had taken the choice to take their racial slurs and turn them into physical attacks. I have a scar on my head. I have scars all over my body, which didn't come from adventure holidays. At times, a vehicle would pull up and spit and words would come from that window. And what you learn to do as a person of colour is to ignore, is to keep walking, because any act of resistance at that age is an act that can bring you physical pain. When you grow up a little bit, you get a little bit bigger. You don't get that as much from everyday people. But that's when you start getting hassled by the police a little more. Actually, what I found out recently is as soon as you start getting a little bit of white in your beard, the police hassle you less. But now our issues are with success in our systems and structures. I remember a time where a van pulled up and people jumped out with bats and poles used as makeshift weapons, and I was running. I ran past people. I wasn't running home. I was just running. I needed to get off the street. And I complete the story. One time someone helped. As they saw me running, they unhatched their gate, pointed to their garden and said, jump in there. And I did. I knew I could bolt the fence if I needed to. And I caught my breath. And my breath catches now in that coffee shop. I want every single person in the UK to know of every act of racism that happens in every single moment. Turn on the news, read, listen, see. Every act of racially motivated violence that there is, but that would be too uncomfortable. Watching the snakes bite would be traumatizing. And why would you look when you could simply turn away? How about we just concentrate on the moments of fear? and tension. The beautiful people joke. I was drunk, but as soon as I said it, I stopped. And there was a fear, a real fear of what have I said, what have I done, and what happens next. And the reason I'm telling you this now is there's trouble in this coffee shop right now. A man has entered, not to order coffee. He walks past us. By the grace of God, he walks past us. He picks up a chair, he flips it round, sits and starts to abuse a woman of colour. She's not alone. Someone goes to the counter for help. I find myself, not through choice, sat bolt upright. Boom! My pockets are empty. My phone, my wallet, my keys, everything is out. And you say, Pran, are you okay? Pran, are you all right? I'm not thinking. I hear the words, but I'm not listening. I'm in a state of pure fear. I'm in a state of pure hypervigilance, hyper-alertness. Our racist, emboldened and enraged, now gets up, goes outside and assaults the first man of colour he sees. There's blood. I'm in a complete state of trauma now. Not because of this sharp bite, but because I'm the 8-year-old. I'm the teenager. I'm the 20-year-old. I'm the grown man who anglicised his name because Pranav is too hard to say. And you say you'd like to learn how to say my name. And then you say, what about all the people who supported you when you were growing up? What people? The friend of the mother didn't say a word. No one gave me a way out while I was running from grown adults with weapons. I said those things. I made up those parts to protect your feelings. But now I see that that protection causes the inaction. And that inaction is what leads to that sweet little boy picking up the message from his mother that these people take too much. Who then grows up into an adult who thinks it's okay to spit at children of colour, to not serve us at bars, to even beat us on the street. Maybe if someone had have stepped in, even 10% of the time someone had have intervened, he wouldn't be in this position assaulting people on the street. And maybe I wouldn't be in this position of trauma. It took me 3 days to come down, 3 full days for my heart to stop racing, for my mind to clear, to breathe again. Now we're always taught to hold something back, to keep them wanting more. Now, and I haven't done that today. I don't think I have anyway. And maybe that means you'll not want to see me again. But if we do see each other again, will you share stories about where you intervened, when you took action, where you challenged a friend or a family member, or just provided and shared some knowledge? Because remember, if only 10% of the time. And maybe if we do see each other, next time We can talk about the things we love instead of the things we fear. Thank you very much.